Junior Factor Nation. Speak without fear.
Alright guys, welcome back to Factor Talk Radio. Do you remember when Rosie O'Donnell ranted about gun control, but then proceeded to hire an armed bodyguard for her kids? Yeah, she said, quote, "Whether or not my family is in need of armed guards doesn't change my position on gun control." Okay. Guys, I want to get into the discussion of gun control. Because after this shooting in Colorado, you have a bunch of people, mostly on the left wing, saying, "Oh, look, it's so bad, it's so bad." It is bad. But we need stricter gun laws now. Okay, well, let's slow down here and look at the facts. But before I get into the facts, I want to explain to you what I mean. The left wing is using this shooting in Colorado as an excuse to promote stricter gun laws. One of these people is Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York City. You know, the guy who wanted to ban large sodas. Yeah, he's back again, and he's taking on the issue of gun control. Listen to what he had to say.
You know, soothing words are nice, but maybe it's time that the two people who want to be president of the United States stand up and tell us what they're going to do about it. Because this is obviously a problem across the country, and everybody always says, isn't it tragic, and, you know, we look for, was the guy, as you said, maybe trying to recreate Batman. I mean, there's so many murders with guns every day. It's just got to stop. And instead of the two people, President Obama and Governor Romney, talking in broad things about they want to make the world a better place, okay, tell us how. And this is a real problem. Now,
okay. So you can see there that he is taking advantage of this incident in Colorado to try to push an agenda to enact stricter gun laws. George Costanza, the actor on the show Seinfeld, whose real name is Jason Alexander, also spoke out against guns and said that essentially the same thing, that we need stricter gun laws. He said, quote, "I'd like to preface this long tweet by saying that my passion comes from my deepest sympathy and shared sorrow with yesterday's victims, and with the utmost respect for the people and the police forces of Aurora, and all who seek to comfort and aid these victims." He then continued, "Clearly the angry, threatened, and threatening hostile comments are coming from gun owners and gun advocates. Despite these massacres recurring, and despite the 100,000 Americans that die every year due to domestic gun violence, these people see no value in even considering some kind of control as to what kinds of weapons are put in civilian hands." So he's essentially saying the same thing. Guns are bad. We need to put stricter laws on them so nothing like this happens again. Okay. Now let's get into the facts here, because these people are obviously ignoring them. First of all, I would just like to point out the fact that handguns are used for protection against criminals in America more than 2 million times per year. But you don't hear about that in the media. Why? Because the media has an agenda. You know what? I'll say it. The media is primarily left-wing. They have a left-wing slant, they have a left-wing bias, and they do have an agenda. And I believe that, like most on the left, they want stricter gun laws. So they don't report the 2 million times per year where handguns are used for protection. Instead, they report how, they get into the hands of criminals and they kill innocent people. They take advantage of this bias to promote their agenda. Here's another fact for you. 5 times more often than they're used to commit crimes, and 128 times the total number of murders per year in the U.S. So guns are used to save people much more than they are used to commit crimes. But again, you don't hear the media reporting on that. Why? Because they want to enact stricter gun laws. Bill Maher actually came out and said something. He bashed American exceptionalism and posted a tweet that said, "Right-wingers love to tout American exceptionalism. Today is a reminder that so many of the things that make us exceptional these days are bad." Really? You're using this instance to go against American exceptionalism? So, you have the left wing, many on the left wing, ignoring the facts here, the two important facts that I just read to you. How, number one, guns are used for protection more than 2 million times per year, and this is 5 times more often than they're used to commit crimes. But they're ignoring this and using instances like what happened in Colorado to bash American exceptionalism in Bill Maher's case. George Costanza's or Jason Alexander's coming out against it, and the mayor of New York, Michael Bloomberg. If they would just look at the facts. Now, I mentioned that guns are used to protect people, used to save lives each year, 5 times more than they are used to commit crimes. And I'll give you some examples. I have 3 quick stories. I don't want this to be a very, very long segment. I just want to get my point across. There was, I don't know if any of you heard this, but this is actually recent. A 71-year-old man was in, actually, he's from Florida, from Marion County, Florida. He was in Palm's Internet Cafe when 2 19-year-olds stormed the cafe with guns trying to rob the place. The 71-year-old named Samuel Williams stood up from his chair, took out his handgun, and fired 2 shots at the criminals, who then took off. And by the way, these 2 19-year-olds were armed with guns and a bat. They are used to protect people. Here's another story. This one was from a while ago. There was an old woman who was in her home one day when a burglar broke in and was trying to rob the place. And the woman went for her weapon, her handgun, and held it up basically to the burglar and said, "You have 1 minute to call the police." She made the burglar call the police and report what was going on. It's humorous, but it proves my point that guns do help. And this final example is actually a personal story, and this was recent too. My cousin, he's in his 20s, and he's a big on guns, very, very big on guns. He carries a concealed handgun, and the other day his house was broken into. And so he goes for his concealed handgun and is walking around his house with his gun up, looking for this burglar, and the burglar is hiding in his house somewhere. And apparently, the burglar saw my cousin with his gun drawn and just bolted towards the door and ran away. So why am I telling you all these stories? What is the point? Well, the point is that stricter gun laws do not do anything to help. Stricter gun laws don't prevent criminals from obtaining guns in the first place. That guy Holmes in Colorado who did the Aurora movie theater shooting is insane. Do you think if they pass a law that enacted stricter gun laws, that he would say, "Okay, well, I better be a good boy and follow these laws"? He rigged his apartment with explosives. Good God, do you think he would follow this law? Stricter gun laws put good law-abiding citizens at a disadvantage because these are the people that will follow the laws. Criminals, they're still going to get their hands on guns whether they're legal or not. Look at drugs. Heroin, cocaine, they're illegal. People still get their hands on them. The only thing stricter gun laws are going to do is disarm innocent people. That's why crime goes up. Australia, they have extremely strict gun laws and they saw their crime skyrocket. England, the same thing. Switzerland, on the other hand, has the highest amount of firepower per capita. Guess what? They're one of the most peaceful nations on the planet. Because when you enact stricter gun laws, ladies and gentlemen, it disarms the innocent people. And gives these criminals an advantage. Guys, we need... I believe we need less strict gun laws, if anything. Because what if a good person that night in Colorado had a concealed weapon? The whole story could have been different. When more people have guns, there is less crime. You just got to look at the facts. Our founding fathers, the Second Amendment gives us the right to bear arms. And you know me, I believe in the founding fathers' vision for America. So, we need to look at the facts here. And trust me when I say that stricter gun control is not the answer.